complex, disappearing up own fundamental kind of possibility going on. But by the end of it, I was won over by it. I just love the overreaching ambition of the guy. I just think it's very brave.
Sammy, do you feel that, do you get a bit anxious like me when you hear that a musician has left behind his kind of pop roots and is starting to do something a bit more out of his safety zone?
I don't think he was ever a pop musician. He's always been, some might say pretentious, some might say, he tries new things. I love the Gorillaz project. I'm a huge fan of Blur, the Gorillaz project. I don't like him as a man. I'll be honest with you.
That's based on absolutely nothing, presumably.
Interviews, things I've seen of it, just makes me a bit uncomfortable. But, that, again, taken out of context, but it did build up quite nicely. I'd probably like to listen to that, maybe. But everything he touches turns to gold. You can't have a go at the bloke for having a try, because it nearly always comes off.
But would we ultimately prefer him just to go back and bash out some great tunes with Blur?
Just get back with Blur,
I think that's what we're all thinking. Yeah, round of applause for Blur.
Yes!
Listen, tracks just landed on my desk by a couple of young upstarts. Don't know much about them, but I know all I know is that they're happy to stick it to the man, whoever that man may be. Have a listen, see what your view is. Guys, I've just had a revelation. That is a self-indulgent mess.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Yes.
On the second listen.
Yeah, I realise it's really, really quite shoddy. I don't know what we were thinking. It's a terrible, self-indulgent piece of nonsense. We should never play it again. It's mad. What, after a couple of rehearsals, suddenly we think we're the greatest band in the world?
Yeah.
I can see how easy it is, how people put something together and then think, well, we better get ourselves a booking down the old, hen and chickens.
Yeah.
Straight
in the
down
heat
there.
of the moment, when there's people blowing S up your A, it's very easy to think that you're the best in the world.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out what that is. Blowing S up your A. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, let's quickly squeeze in the new tune from Travis and see what you make of that. Forthcoming single from Travis, Something Anything. Harry, one word.
No.
Rufus?
Surprise!
Really? Sammy?
Delightful.
Okay, well, there we are. There is our pertinent views on Travis. So listen, can we have a big round of applause, please, for Jude? Jude Adam, long-standing producer of this show. She's done a dynamite job. She's eased us onto the air brilliantly, and now it's time for us to ease her off. It's with a heavy heart, Jude, that we say thank you very much indeed for everything you've done for the show, and you have indulged me in my showbiz whims. You have allowed these people to come on for upwards of £7 a week. We will miss you enormously. What can I say?
Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's really good to know you all.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very sweet. Well, likewise. I believe we've collected together a little something.
Presents!
Gift there for you, Jude. It's probably quite self-indulgent. Actually, this whole program's been deeply self-indulgent. It might be better because, much as we love you, Jude, the listeners, I'm sure they love you, but they're probably indifferent to the gifts. Listen, thank you so much for everything you've done.
Thank you, BBC. It's been 11 years I've been at the BBC, and that's it. So it's been a pleasure. Everyone keep listening.
God bless you. Oh, you know how sometimes you just get something in your head and you want to say it, even though you know it's kind of lame and local radio? And I'm sorry, but, T-Rex, 20th Century Boy, have you forgotten how great that tastes? Doesn't really make sense, but do you know what I mean? I just hadn't heard it for ages, and I heard it again, and then I thought of that phrase, which is about a breakfast cereal. But I just thought, it just seemed to all come together beautifully in some perfect expression of, hey, welcome to Radio 6 Music. With me, Steve Merchant, and my gang here of cronies. Apologies for not being here last week. Had more important business to attend to.
Clever.
The marriagification, of course, of Posh Rufus. Round of applause straight away.
Thank you.
Thank you. He's come in today looking all happy and bloody married. And look at that, tremendous. He normally got a sense of tremendous self-satisfaction about him, just for being rich and upper class. But now, my goodness me, even happy. Look at the grin. Even as he thinks about his beautiful bride, you can see that grin on his face.
He's got one up on all of us, hasn't he?
He has.
Frankly.
Yeah. He's done. I mean, not only he was born into great privilege, and now he's married great privilege. Does that make sense? No, just a lovely lady. It was a wonderful occasion. There's obviously a certain friction in the room, I imagine, because I was the only one who was invited. But
That's
obviously,
gotta hurt. That has got to hurt.
that's gonna, how are you feeling the burn there, mate?
Yeah.
After a year and something.
Yeah, because of course, not only did I not get an invite, but it meant that we couldn't do the show, so I didn't get my usual, 30 quid as well.
Yeah, of course, so
I was a two-time loser.
Exactly.
And I was reminded, that I wasn't getting married either.
Of course, so you're a three-time loser.
Everyone likes to be the centre of attention.
A three-time loser, and of course, you're just a loser, so a four-time loser.
Exactly.
It's particularly ugly. But Sammy, of course, a newer member of the gang, wouldn't have enjoyed it anyway.
No, I don't love big pretty ceremonies, an excuse to wear a fascinator. Never mind.
There were quite a few fascinators on display.
There's a lot of fascinators.
How many did you count?
6.
Okay.
That kept me entertained while we're waiting for you and the missus to get everything started in the church. Boring! Get on with it! What's she doing? Just driving around the church again in the fancy car? Boring!
yeah.
Oh, let's have the fascinator game. How many can you spot? I didn't realise they were called fascinators until your wedding.
No, I should have put it on the invitation, but I didn't know until I read
You should have put it on the invitation.
Yeah.
Just as an interesting piece of trivia.
Yeah, exactly.
At the bottom.
Or, gentlemen must wear morning coats and top hats, and ladies must wear fascinators, or they may not be allowed into the church.
Are we all familiar with what a fascinator is?
Well-
I'd hate for people to be excluded.
My dad thinks they're called fantasizers, so I'd just like to make it clear that they're not. They are called fascinators.
Fantasizers
He
is a
keeps
whole
calling my
different-
fascinators fantasizers.
Yeah.
How many do you have?
2. I have a small purple top hat and a big fairy thing with ribbons.
Well, a small top hat is just a top hat.
Well, no, it's on a hairband, so it is actually a fascinator. I mean, it literally is the size of a cup.
I imagine, as we've said before, there's obviously a lot of the Six Music listeners are sort of people who probably don't get invited to weddings. They're either young or smackheads. What can you give a quick description of what the fascinator is?
Fascinator is a small piece of objet d'art worn upon the head, normally strapped under the chin because it won't hold its own weight or attach itself properly to your head. But they are quite pretty and they come in an assortment of bows, colours, hats, tiny or otherwise.
Thanks very much.
Do they really have chin straps? Fascinators with chin straps?
Some do, some don't. Some are attached to hairbands, some are on hair slides, and some have chin straps.
All the ones I've seen are attached to hair furniture. To see something with a thick, substantial chin strap at a wedding?
It would be a pinball, wouldn't it?
I think probably this is the first time that anyone who's tuned into Six Music for brand new music has heard a discussion so early in a programme about fascinators.
Yeah.
It's such a resolutely middle-class, middle-aged conversation to be having.
Because if it's surely tied around the chin, then when it comes to the reception, you've got to be hoping for soup. Because you're not going to be chewing anything substantial with that
No, because the
strapped
thing will be
on.
bobbing up and down as you chew.
Yeah, you
won't
look
it?
Ridiculous. Still to come, a interesting recipe for mince pies.
There's a weight over me today. Something I have to say. Love you too much.
Dan Lassac versus Scroobius Pip and Look for the Woman, and I'm very pleased to say that Scroobius will be joining us later on the Steve Show today to have a chat, and hopefully we'll get him to try and bust some rhymes. Is that what he calls it, or is it just talking? Just some sort of, sorry, let me turn Sammy up, because I know you're a massive Dan and Scroobius fan.
I have my badge on. I have distributed them amongst the gang. We now say
Noticed that.
Lassac versus Pip.
Oh, that's very sweet. Did you make those specially?
I believe Dan's girlfriend made them. I had to pay human money for them, but yes.
Sure. Wow, is it that low rent? I didn't realise we were getting such shoddy guests. Well, there we are.
Do you think maybe he might ask you for some advice on hip-hop delivery, Steve?
Well, listen, I don't want to preempt anything, but we all know what my flow is. Let's not say any more. For people that just joined us, thank you so much for listening. Six Music, Steve Merchant here. I've got my gang. We didn't really fully introduce everyone. We've got Harry.
Yeah, hello.
Works in a bank. We've got Sammy.
Hiya.
Northern and Posh Rufus, newly married.
Hello.
Newly wedded. We won't dwell on it, but just to fill you in on the wonderful day. Great weather. The church, I have to say, the ceremony, excellent.
Yeah.
It was very concise.
Yeah.
Because they can get a bit dull. But
Yes.
you kept it wham, bam, no fanning around. I have to say, the vows, we all know Rufus as a man with an impeccable turn of phrase, but I've never seen someone deliver the vows with such sincerity.
Yeah.
It was like he was auditioning for Brideshead Revisited. It was quite brilliant. He invested it with such tremendous emotion.
Yeah.
And his lovely wife, she just was overcome with natural emotion, but I thought that Rufus was really acting the hell out of the vows. He was really going for the vows. I will. It was sort of like Brian Blessed delivering it. It was fantastic. And what was great was that the vicar obviously felt a bit like, hang on, this, because normally obviously doesn't get two absolute pros in the church.
People are generally very nervous.
They're very nervous, they're very cautious. So, I will. They're normally a bit cautious. So he was obviously normally the main man. So I noticed he upped his game after Rufus. Did you notice that, Rufus?
He did a little bit.
He
didn't
started, I pronounce thee. Maybe not pronounce thee, but certainly
Yeah.
it was tremendous. But I can also say as well, excellent choice of hymns.
Oh yeah.
Some of the absolute, I mean, as you'd expect. I mean, what are you expecting?
Music?
There was
Music.
sadly nothing at all from the White Stripes. But, Jerusalem, of course. Cracking closer.
A lot of churches don't like that, do they?
I know, well, a lot of people, you know, it's obviously been claimed now by a lot of sort of right-wing types, but not Rufus not afraid of that.
No.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's happy. No. And do you know what? This is how much esteem I hold to him. Normally, when I'm at a wedding, I change the lyrics of the hymns for my own amusement. Into kind of rude words or just rude ideas and imagery. Did that in the last couple of weddings, but this one did it absolutely.
Praise my soul, the King of Heaven. Word for word.
Perfect. Absolutely straight down the line. No effing around. I was giving it 110%.
Good.
And a lot of people around me just excellent pat on the back. Because great. 'Cause I just tend to come in quite low. So I had quite a sort of, baritone to the room.
Yeah.
But that, I'd say the ceremony, excellent, quick, fast, boom, straight out, free champagne, always a treat.
Nice.
Bam, party afterwards, excellent. Live music, both from Rufus and his band.
Yeah.
I think one day we're all hoping to get them in session. Except the listener. And, and also then, Rufus's brother, his band came out. Oh, absolute excellent selection of tunes. They were cracking and excellent choice of music, if you don't mind me saying. They did a version of Sweet Home Alabama.
Nice.
Mainstay. And a great version with the tricky guitar solo performed brilliantly, Since You've Been Gone, Rainbow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I tell you, normally that is a mainstay of my DJ set.
Yeah,
I had to drop it this time because they'd already done a great version of it. But, now then, riddle me this, because what happened was, Rufus very, as any obvious sane man would, he's turned to me, he said, Steve, can you spin some tunes at the ceremony? If you're gonna make things go with a splash, you want me to be spinning some tunes. Not a problem, I say. Happy to do it for an hour. Right, hang on a minute. 2 hours later, what the hell's going on? Right? Worse than that, there were some problems with the CD players. So all the plans I had afoot, the kind of amazing mixing I had going on, it all had to go out the window because I could only play what was working in the CD players. Frankly, I was furious. I was absolutely, a lovely day was ruined by presumably some cheap equipment. And I don't know how the listeners. At times I had to stop the music and switch CDs in the CD player. I couldn't mix seamlessly.
So, I mean, obviously it was a nice day, but what would have made it memorable, truly memorable, would have been a slamming DJ set from yourself, Steve.
Oh, come on. And do you know what's interesting is once you step behind the decks, even though you're a friend, booted and suited, you've been there all day, you're a lifelong friend, suddenly you step behind the decks, people forget that. Oh, they treat you like any other, sort of pleb who's there, where you're one of those drongos pouring the champagne. Suddenly, you're as bad as one of them. I tell you, it's unbelievable. People heckling when the music wasn't working properly. A little misstep there, pressed the wrong button on the CD player. People furious, shouting, heckling. I mean, he doesn't realise, Rufus doesn't realise, obviously he was pie high, he was, he was off his head.
I had a wavy line for a mouth, I was just wandering around hugging everyone.
Crosses for eyes. Yeah,
Surrounded by champagne pouring drongos.
Of course, but it was I mean, I enjoyed myself, but nevertheless, it's a thankless task. And do you know what? I thought I pulled it out the bag nevertheless. But it's the last time. I'm stepping down. I'm stepping down.
Really?
I'm taking my hat out of the ring. No more wedding DJing.
Wow.
No more live DJ performance for myself.
To give us credit, he did tear a strip off the bride. He stood up at the end and went and looked straight at the bride, and the eyes went, no one bought me a drink.
Yeah.
My chair wasn't.
I was furious. I was furious. Not once in 2 hours did anyone come and say, fancy a drink?
No.
I mean, that's pretty sloppy, isn't it?
They're expecting a top-line performance, but they're not prepared to give you the support you need, Steve.
Thank you very much, Harry. Thank you. I mean, I don't, I'm not sure that now is the time to bring this up with Rufus, but,
I think we made it up for you the next day with the old...
Hey, that's true, actually.
The carry out.
No, that's true. That's true, actually, 6 bottles of wine, free, gratis, from the bride and groom. I've popped that straight in the fridge. So, he said red or white. I went with white. I could have gone with red. I went with white. Okay, just to, no secrets to fill you in. But, I'll tell you, last time I DJ'd at an event, I dropped Something Got Me Started.
Yeah.
It went an absolute storm. Well, I've added a couple more to the repertoire, and I dropped this one.